Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about manifesting relationships, new ones, or changing the dynamic in an existing relationship. This can be anything from a friend, family member, or a romantic partner. Let's get started. Okay, so let's talk about all the parts that go into a relationship. We have everything from your free will to their free will. Let's start there. Okay, so how does free will apply when it comes to manifesting relationships? You might right off the bat feel that there is some sort of infringement there. So when it comes to manifesting anything, what we're really doing is negotiating with our 3D reality anyway. So if you have the intention that you don't want to infringe upon anyone else's free will, that's all you need. You don't need to think about it anymore, because what you're doing is basically creating a list of desires and having a negotiation with someone else. Hey, do you want to show up for me in this way? Let's talk about it. Maybe there's some changes that we make on a soul level, but let me get into what that looks like. So what goes into manifesting a relationship? You, on your end, have your own things, and then this other party has their own set, right? So you have your conscious desires. So this could be everything from wanting to go out to dinner frequently, or wanting someone that wants to go hiking with you, someone to watch a TV show with, right? Because this doesn't have to just be a romantic partner. This can be any type of relationship. Wanting someone that you can talk to on the phone once a week. You have your conscious desires. Conscious meaning what you are aware of you desiring. And it can be really helpful to list these things out. I like to list out my desires and then really get to the root of what I want to feel underneath them. So I'm not going to get into personal examples too deeply right now. I might even make like a whole separate video depending on how long this one is. But I will definitely share my examples with you. Somebody likes to always be involved, and he loves the camera because he knows the camera loves their cute little face. Okay, anyway, enough getting distracted by my dog. So you have your conscious beliefs. So you bet you're also going to have your unconscious beliefs and desires. So we typically call these our limiting beliefs or our blocks, because if our subconscious isn't on board with our conscious desires, then it's creating a difference in the reality we're trying to create. It's creating a different scenario than the one that we are consciously trying to manifest. So you're bringing your conscious beliefs, your subconscious beliefs, and then your self-concept, which in my opinion helps you take a look at how your conscious and subconscious are working together. So the self-concept to me helps see what's going on in the subconscious, because if I'm over here saying I want someone that is going to talk to me often and prioritize me, setting dates with me, this kind of thing, and then I check with my self-concept, which is, how do you view yourself? Do you view yourself as someone who is worthy of the desires that you're saying that you want and that you can have? Do you actually feel worthy of them? Do you feel that you deserve them? No, that's kind of the same thing. And do you know that you will have them? This is how you can find out if you actually feel worthy, and you can start to identify those subconscious blocks that might be happening. So if I'm over here saying, I want someone that texts me regularly and calls me, but I don't actually feel worthy of that because from negative past experiences, people always lose touch with me, contact dries up, communication dries up, then what I'm asking for is just that. So you can sit here and have these desires, and you're going to now have to heal the subconscious thoughts to actually have those desires. So you're not messing up your manifestation. If you're stating your desires and you discover that your subconscious limiting beliefs, you have blocks around these things, it doesn't mean you don't get it. It means that you get to do the healing work to remove those blocks, to come into a place of feeling worthy of deserving this and knowing that you can have these things that you want. So the self-concept is important, because if you think about something in a relationship, you now have to, like, you're operating with another party that has their own set of all of this. They have their own conscious desires, their own subconscious blocks, healing that needs to be done, and they have their own self-concept. Now they also have their own self-concept of you. So if you're going to manifest a relationship, what you need to do is see the other person as the person that you dream of. So you need to have a concept of them, that they are the person that is willing, able, and going to give you your desires. How this looks on a soul level is your soul and their soul communicate, and as human beings, you're only so conscious of what's going on that level, depending on how in tune with yourself you are. It can be pretty difficult. I might dare say impossible to be 100% understanding of what's going on that level, just by the nature of our reality and how we have incarnated in these bodies. So your soul is going to meet with the other person and say, okay, this is, what she's saying she wants. This is what's really going on under the surface. So do you want the desires? Okay, yes, our desires match up. Now let's take a look at our people's subconscious beliefs. How are they blocking this? Will you agree to show up in a way to help her heal this? And how can she show up in a way that helps you heal your subconscious blocks, right? Limiting beliefs. So there's a lot that goes into it. And that's a good thing, because sometimes, most of the time, when we are healing, there's like a rocky road maybe at the beginning of a relationship, because you have to heal these things. You need your wounds reflected back at you so that you can learn how to come into a place of healing, standing on your own 2 feet, really coming into that place of stability with yourself. Relationships are really just a journey to help us heal. It's a beautiful experience that we have on this planet, but this entire 3D reality is designed to reflect our lessons to us, to show us where we can heal ourselves, what improvements we can make. So that can be really intimidating, because when we see these things showing up in our reality, we're like, oh my gosh, that person isn't treating me properly. I need to get rid of them. But it might be your reality reflecting back at you that you have something to work on within yourself. Now, if you come to a place where maybe you've come through your healing and the dynamic of a relationship is no longer serving you, or you just come to a place where the dynamic of a relationship is not serving you, how do you know when it is best to truly walk away and start from scratch? Because you do not have to change the dynamic of a relationship. You can, that's available to you, but you can manifest a new partner, a new friend, whatever it is that you are working on. So when is it best to really walk away from the situation? I think, for me, this is just my experience, it's best when there has been true harm done, whether intentional or not. If you have felt further traumatized, or even if you still come into a place of healing and understanding, if you truly feel that there is too much water under the bridge, am I using that phrase correctly? I don't know. If too much has come to pass between you, and you know that it's going to be too much of a struggle for you to deal with, and you don't desire to overcome what has transpired in the dynamic in order to move forward with this person, then do whatever is best for you. I think that it is best to move forward if you feel that it is. Now, this is different from feeling that you have no other choice. Sometimes we are basing things on our past experiences. Maybe the relationship isn't showing up the way we want it to, but it hasn't really done any harm. It has just been a reflection of our limiting beliefs, and we've come to see that. It can be, that's probably the more ideal situation when there really is not. Yeah, I think the phrase "too much water under the bridge" is appropriate here. I think I'm using that correctly. But yeah, you take on whatever you want to take on. You work on whatever you want to work on. If you just want to call in a new partner, go for it. You can absolutely do that. If you want to call in a new friend, you can absolutely do that. Because this is part of the soul contract. So if you are saying, hey, I don't want to use the word contract. I just feel that there's a lot of negative connotations around that word. I typically only use contract when talking about negative contracts that have been formed with entities. The word contract just does not go hand in hand with being a sovereign being for me. So I take that back, agreement, a soul agreement, but perhaps contract was the right word if I'm talking about negative relationships. So moving forward, I think that coming into a soul agreement with someone is just that. So if there has been too much pain, and you're saying on a soul level to this other person, hey, these are her desires now, and she knows that she's worthy of them. So these are her boundaries. You're going to have to conform at least to this level so that we can move forward. If another person is so stuck in something that is coming up as toxic for you, then they have every right to still choose that. And that's when the relationship will fall out of your life, because they are not going to show up the way you want them to, at least right now. So that's where manifesting can still come into play if you want them in the future. But I think that when there has been true harm done in a relationship, you typically let that one go. Even if you think that you still want it in the future, as you come into your healing, you will let it fall away. That's my personal experience. So I think I have time for a story, or no, maybe I'll still make it a separate video. Let me think. Okay, I decided that I'm going to do some quick examples for this, but not get into the full story that I want to get into with my personal example of how I am currently assessing and changing the dynamic of a relationship I manifested. So one of the examples is, and I'll link, well, I have a small channel right now, so it shouldn't be too hard to find the other video. Okay, so here's the example, is that I met a partner and I attracted him in because I wanted to heal from past relationship trauma. So during our time together, I've had natural desires to want to increase the depth of commitment and affection and interaction and time spent together as I've gotten to know him, as trust has grown, and I've come to see who he is. So I have this self-concept of who I am. I have a self-concept of who he is, but because I was healing from past trauma, I was replaying those dynamics in our relationship, and he was showing up for me in the way that I was subconsciously asking for him to. So it looked like maybe my worst fears are coming true, but it was always different enough that it was still healthy. And this is where it's different from a past truly toxic relationship where, again, it was always showing up in a healthy way that was helping me heal. And so I came through the other side of this healing because he was showing up exactly the way I was asking him to. And I realized, okay, now I believe that I deserve all of these things that hadn't happened along the way due to my own subconscious beliefs. And they were pretty conscious. I was pretty conscious of these negative beliefs. I didn't understand the effect I could have. I didn't realize my power in this situation. So now I'm on the other side of things, and I'm like, okay, we can't do that anymore. But I wasn't fully understanding the role I played in it. I just knew that it worked out the way it was supposed to, and now I wonder if it'll work out a different way. But because of all these negative relationships I've had in the past where they were truly unhealthy and I needed to let them go, I didn't immediately realize that maybe this relationship could change to fit how I am feeling I deserve now. And I sat with myself. I gave myself some time, which was like a day. I like to rush things. I'm learning and practicing patience. So I give myself patience and understanding, and I'm open to the idea of things changing. I do some learning on YouTube. I look at the internet. I learn from some other coaches out there that share manifestation techniques and how this works within a relationship. And I come into this massive realization of just the extent of how I asked him to show up. I would ask him to show up in the way that shows commitment and all the things I wanted, and he would give me that, and I would instantly deny it. So then he would adapt for that. So he was always showing up the way I asked him. I just never gave space for the healed desire to show up. So now I'm in this space of working through that and really understanding that and having to release the old concept I had created through this dynamic of me healing, because I have to acknowledge my responsibility in the creation of his concept, and that he has this other side to him that he did show to me, but I chose to experience a different side of him. So now I have to go remember all of this evidence and form my concept of him around that and say, okay, I am truly ready for this version of you that wanted to show up for me. And that was how I came into this understanding at the level that I have it at. So that's my example, but I had to work on my self-concept really came in. I was like, oh no, I'm someone that is worthy of what I desire, and it's not a want because I know I will have it because I am worthy, so it can be no other way. And what I needed to do was then correct my concept of him. So that was the work that I did just in the past day or so. So I don't really have results per se yet. But excited to share, whatever comes next on this journey for me. I'm going to wrap this up here and then go in depth into this whole situation. I will explain the dynamics of the relationship. Very open person, and if my stories help somebody else understand how these things work and the power that you have over yourself and your own life and everything in your life, then by all means I want to do that. So I will be sharing my personal manifestation stories in the next video. So take a look, keep an eye out for that. Write a comment down below if you resonated with any of this. If there's anything else you'd like me to expand upon, definitely let me know. Make sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with anyone who might be interested, subscribe if you want to hear more content like this, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much.